Kiboozi.
Now I've come to realize that the biggest resource we have in life is the most limited resource that we have in life. And that is time. You see, the trouble is that we think we do have a lot of time. I want to welcome you to yet another episode of Beizzo's Kiboozi. And this week, I want to have a very real conversation with you. You know, those are the episodes that I love. So it is one of these ones. One of those episodes that stays long in your mind after listening to it. Because here's the truth. One day all this will end. No matter who you are, no matter what you're chasing, the clock keeps ticking. And by the clock keeps ticking, I mean you have limited time. Because most people wait until it is too late for them to ask themselves this question. And all the questions that matter actually in life. You know, being that everyone is limited by time, or in the new world, limited by attention, these are questions you need to ask yourself, or the questions you need to be attentive to in your life, so that you better have a good sentence at the end of your life. What someone calls the high-thin value. Now, the high-thin value, just a small bit about it. I listened to a story somewhere, and someone was giving the analogy that we all live life, we all live, let me say, from 1998 to, let's say, 2013. So on your tombstone or the order of service booklet for your memorial mass, they will write that this guy lived from 1980 dash 2025. So that dash is the high-thin value. Now, that high-thin value is something that will give people what to say about what you did in your time. Because at that point, your time will have ended. So, the high-thin value. For you to better understand the high-thin value, these are the questions you need to ask yourself, or you need to ponder on every day of your life, so that it is a life that you lived meaningfully. And why I'm always thinking about this is because for this life thing, you get only one shot. Okay, those people that are in India or where some believe in reincarnation or living again. The Christians believe in eternal life. But for this life that we are aware of, the one that we know now, you only get one shot at it. And so there are questions you need to ponder on every day so that you live your high-thin value or your high-thin sentence more meaningfully. I'm thinking that if you're listening to this episode, you need to ask yourselves these questions now. Not next week, not when you're in your 40s, your 80s, your 100s, but now. And now, I mean now, in a capital letter, now. You see, these are the questions that will make your life more meaningful. And the first one will be, am I having a life true to myself or one others expect? I was about to say expect from me. Now you see, this is a question that makes you understand whether you're living your life for yourself or you're living your life for others. Be it in your relationships, be it in your career, be it in the dreams that you have. This is one of the hardest questions to answer, because it is hard because it kills you silently. It comes in as a silent killer. You never know that it is killing you until it is too late. And the longer you lie to yourself, the harder it gets to get out of that script, to reverse the script of your life. Let's say you've been in a hard relationship. The longer you stay in it, the harder for you to get out, because you get more reasons to be complacent for you to stay there. Be it in a false career. We take up some careers because maybe your parents told you, I need you to become a doctor because your grandfather was a doctor, your great-great-great-grandfather was a doctor, whatever they were shaking, I don't know. But they want you to stay a doctor up to today, things like that. And for you want to be maybe a musician, maybe you want to be a creative, you want to be something that is out of the life that they wanted you to live. You need to ask yourself, are you going to live your life true to yourself or true to what other people expect of you? So the longer you are there in that job as a doctor or your connections are in that, it will be harder for you to flip the script and take on what you wanted to take on. Now, the second question is a bit related to this first one, but it's more on the dream side. Life can get very busy, but what dream have you given on because life got too busy? You see, the busy, I mean, things come into your mind, responsibilities around, there's too much noise here and there, here and there, here and there. You're worried about the prices of basic needs going up. You're worried about all this and this. And so you forget the dreams you had as a young boy. If I look at myself at the age of 16, I was a very, very, very ambitious boy. And also a very silent boy. I didn't speak all these dreams out to people. At some point, I wanted to be a great artist. Artist by this one, I mean the one of the hand. Then also the one that sings. Then also the one that creates. But I've lived up to only one. I tried the other one. And maybe in my graphics, I could still be an artist of the hand. But I would say it was a good dream that I'm trying to live out and see how far I can reach. But many of us, if we looked back, there are very many dreams we had, and they have gone to waste because of the life and it getting so busy, the noise being too much, the responsibilities piling up. But you see, dreams do matter because they did not come to you randomly. And the power that you have to get back on track with these dreams is in a small thing that I call compound effect. You see, if you got a hole and a small space in your compound, for those that may have a compound or maybe on the roadside or something, and you started to dig and scoop soil every day for the rest of this year. We are in June, for the rest of the half of this year. At the end of the year, you will have a ditch. So this is to open your mind in the sense that if you did something about that one good dream you had when you were young, every day, at the end of this year alone, there will be a big portion of what you've done towards that dream. The same applies to if you do nothing. It will be like digging that hole in your heart, the longer you wait, the more hurtful it gets. Someone told me that they are jealous when they see someone with half the potential you have, or the potential you believe you have, succeed on that small potential that they do have. And why? Personally, I also get that feeling. I'm a Christian, but you can be there and you're like, man, I'm actually better at this thing than this guy, but this guy is actually benefiting from it more, just because they started the digging. Well, you didn't dig on doing actions to eat, but you dug on not doing the actions to eat. I don't know if you guys get the analogy up to now, but that is the thing. Whether you work on something or you don't work on something, it will hurt you at the end of the day. Now, when you work on it, the reward is bigger. The ditch is bigger. When you do not work on it, the regret is bigger. The ditch is bigger. Yeah. So the other question is, what do you need to forgive yourself? You see, bitterness is a prison. And the funny bit about it is you're the only one doing time in your bitterness. That prison that you're in, when you set yourself free, you're at peace. Because forgiveness is for your peace. You need to be very light on yourself. You need to forgive yourself for the things that may have broken you at some point. One thing I've remembered actually is that people do forget. Sometimes you may be bitter about something, but the person you're bitter about is not bothered. The person thinks they were the right ones at that point, or they are the ones that were in the good side of your book. So you need to forgive yourself. You need to forgive yourself so that you're free. Because remember, you are the only one serving time when you're bitter to yourself. The other thing is that you need to ask yourself, what have I been avoiding because it is hard? Someone told me that in the hard things, that's where the beauty is. One of the hardest things to ever do was to start this episode, to start this podcast. I said episode because it was the easiest thing to come to me, but to start this podcast, the hardest thing in my life was to start this podcast. Now, if you know me a bit, the early part of my life, I was quite a shy boy. I was quite a shy man, and most of the articulation of the words or the articulation of ideas was clearly not there. So I used this podcast to be something that was to rectify all that for me. It was the hardest thing for me to start, but that's where the gold has come. That's where the growth is. I tried to leave my comfort zone, because the comfort zone is the dream death zone. That's what my father told me. The comfort zone is a dream death zone. My father has always tried to make sure that in one way or another you're not very comfortable. He was a guy that would tell you waking up at 8 is a devil's way of making you lose some time during the day. Because imagine someone that woke up at 5 and then someone that woke up at 8. Okay, let's say they are all very effective people, but by the time you wake up at 8 and someone woke up at 5, they have done a lot from 6, 7, then 8. They've already done a lot in those 3 hours before you woke up. So Let's leave the comfort zone and then see that those dreams are accelerated. So what is a Beizzo's Kiboozi episode without practical solutions? Now, these are the practical solutions for you to see that you answer the time issue in your life or the heightened value in your life. The first thing is to journal. Personally, I don't journal that much. I just jot down ideas. But you need to journal, because in the journaling, you take account of everything that has happened in your day. So you tend to live life more meaningfully, because you need to give an account of the life that you've lived. You need to have a monthly true talk. This is something that I have with myself. I always sit down, maybe sometimes in a restaurant or somewhere, to celebrate my month. I have a good meal, I have a good drink, maybe a milkshake, and I ponder on the questions of my life. Is what I'm doing right now meaningful? Will it be meaningful in the next 10 years? Will it help me be less stressed in the next 10 years? Because you see, the things you do today are supposed to shape the future. The other thing is you need to practice writing your own eulogy. That is it statement, is it speech that people give about you when you're dead. You need to practice your own. Because there's a great story about eulogies that I read somewhere, and it was about this guy called Nobel, and that's where the Nobel Prize came from. This guy happened to have read his eulogy in a newspaper where people thought he was dead and yet he was still alive. So he read and saw that people were calling him the creator of the atomic bomb, what. He had done this and this. I don't think it was Oppenheimer, but there was a guy maybe created the easier bomb. There's another bomb there. He created something that was going to end world wars, what, but cause more damage, things like that. So what was in the newspaper was negative about him. And so this guy came to think that he had lived a life that was going to end up negative on people's minds. He was going to be remembered negatively. So he decided to be a peacemaker, and that's the birth of the Nobel Peace Prize. I hope I have not mixed up the ideas from somewhere, but I believe that's how the story is. That's how the Nobel Peace Prize comes up. He starts rewarding people for doing good things towards peacemaking in the world. And that was all because he looked at his eulogy in a newspaper before he died. Yes, the other thing you need to do is to start digging. And if you remember our analogy, you need to start digging the right way. Digging towards whatever you want to achieve in life. But above all, in whatever you're doing, you need to work on your soul too. Now, for some of us that believe in eternal life, or for those, maybe the Indians, that believe in reincarnation, there is a statement I saw somewhere in the Bible, I think in Mark, and it was, what good is it for someone to gain the whole world and forfeit their own soul? So you need to also remember that if you believe in life after death or anything after this, you need to take care of your soul. Take care of your soul, be a good person, be a reasonable person. Because yes, we have the good and the bad side, but be a very more reasonable person. so that you see yourself in whatever you believe in, the eternal life or the reincarnation. Because we all believe that for you to have eternal life, you have to have done great in this life that we have now. For you to have reincarnation, same. And yeah, think about it and always work towards having a great soul. Otherwise, that is it for Beizzo's Kiboozi this week. I hope you can share this to whoever needs it. Keep it at Beizzo's Kiboozi and see you on next Monday. Thank you for listening.